Hello and welcome to AMS2 Hot Lap Shootouts, and today we have something a little bit different. A few weeks ago, Reza released the latest patch of AMS2, which included two Chevy Corvette Stingrays, the C3 race and production variants. During his review of this new patch, Steelcast27 suggested that the production variant would eat the other historic touring cars for lunch. Let's see if he's right. So here we are, welcome to Speedland, and we are going to do a lap by lap rather than side by side, and we're kicking things off with the Corvette C3. It's handling this nimble, tight, twisty circuit relatively well. It's got a decent steering lock on this production variant and a fairly soft suspension setup, which is making getting round this course a little bit easier. Don't forget to put the lights on to go into the indoor parts of this circuit. Very important there. And the Corvette rumbling down the corridors on this indoor kart track. For those of you wondering why we picked a kart track, I was being cheeky and hoping that we would get a mini win here, but let's wait and see. I am surprised how well the Corvette's getting round these tighter bends. It's able to use all of that power in that first gear. Long range gearbox. Only 4 gears in here. And we can basically just leave it in first and let that V8 talk and grunt and rumble do the work for us. And here we come round the final corner. Lighting it up, good to see. And there we are with the Corvette, with a time of 1 minute 16.56. So the Corvette has set us our benchmark, and now we are going to move over to the Mini Cooper S. So this is going to be an interesting one. The Mini is a third of the power of the Corvette, but is half the weight. And for any of you who've watched Goodwood Revival before, either live at Goodwood or on the telly, you will know that these Minis are very, very competitive. The Mini is navigating these tight bends with ease, plenty of turning circle available, but there definitely is a traction issue with this front wheel drive system. Maybe a little subtler on the throttle from me, or maybe a little bit of setup work needed still here. Plenty of plumes of smoke coming from those front tyres. Looks dramatic, probably not the fastest way around here. This is the first time I've driven this particular Mini in anger, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised about the amount of fun to be had, especially with the lift-off oversteer you can get in places, and the way you can just plant the throttle no matter what sort of corner you are in. So here the Mini comes up to the final corner, not lighting it up in quite the same way as the Corvette, but still, and we cross the line in a 1:17.3. The best part of 0.8 difference, maybe a little bit of work on that front wheel drive, and we could have got a bit closer. So let's move on to Colin Chapman's Lotus 23 and see if the giant killer can take another scalp. So this car is the oldest of the group, it's the least powerful of the group, but it is the lightest of the group. And in addition, it is a dedicated racing car. It's what it was built to do. Power to weight ratio wise, it is slightly down on the Corvette, but considering it's got a tiny 1 litre inline 4 versus the 7.4 litre V8, what a difference of machine, and what a comparison this will be. They look pretty close so far. The Lotus is definitely quicker in the bends, much more nimble getting around this circuit, but I assume it's going to be losing out on the power and torque sections of the track. I have to say this Lotus has changed quite a lot since I drove it a few patches back. It's quite fun to drive. It's most definitely a one to throw around. It's one of those cars that I would probably see how little I'd have to brake, and maybe I could take every corner as flat out as possible. Here we come round the final sections of track. Can the Lotus win it back for the Union Jack? and we cross the line in a 1:16.18. The Lotus has done it. The giant killer strikes again. So a lowdown of the results. In third place, and a disappointment for me, is the Mini Cooper S with a 1:17.3. 8/10 up the road was the Corvette C3 with a 1:16.56. And in first place is the Lotus 23 with a 1:16.18. So Colin Chapman and the Lotus 23 take the Speedland karting circuit crown. And yes, I know it was a little bit of fun around an unrealistic racetrack. But if this video gets over 100 views, we will do it again around a real racing circuit.